Well, hello everyone, and welcome once again to the Yorkshire Gamers Elite Big Wargames podcast. And we're up to episode 62. And last month we were over in America talking to the Little Wars guys. And if you've not listened to that one yet, give it a go. It's just come up on YouTube as well as all your normal audio podcast hosts. Well, today's something a little bit different. It's one of the times when I actually need to get off my backside and go and visit somebody. And it wasn't too far to go. I've been over to Honley, which is near the town of Holmfirth, which British people will know from Last of the Summer Wine, the absolutely classic comedy series that ran for about 30 odd years. And I've been visiting Trevor Dixon from Dixon Miniatures. And one of the classic old school manufacturers, real character to the figures. Um, First ever samurai figures that I remember, and great American Civil War, English Civil War, huge ranges of everything. And it was a lovely chat. It was a bit of a personal chat. We were kind of sat opposite each other, and it's a little bit shorter than normal. I didn't try to do the sections that I would do normally when we're online. I just went straight in, and we did an interview. And in true Yorkshire style, Trevor had just told me the answer, whether it was a long one or a short one. So I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. I did. I had a uh, great day out. With Trevor, and he even made me a cup of tea. So, what can I say? So, sit back and enjoy this slightly shorter episode. But it's a great one. So sit down and listen to me and Trev. Without further ado, here's the interview. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to episode 62 of the Yorkshire Gamer Reet Big Wargames podcast. And today I'm firmly back on home turf. I'm a few miles outside Holmfirth, home of the classic Last of the Summer Wine. So hopefully, after we finish this interview, my guests and I can go sliding down a hillside in a bathtub somewhere. My first memories of today's guests is helping him lug large boxes of figures into a leisure centre in Leeds for the local Fiasco Wargames show, and taking hopefully much lighter boxes out again when he'd sold it all. Dixon's Miniatures have been operating for as long as I can remember and are one of the mainstays of our hobby, with many ranges of 28 or is it 25 mil figures available. They're probably best known to me for their Samurai and ACW ranges. The figures have real character, and without doubt you can immediately recognise one of their figures. So sit back with a cup of tea and enjoy the next hour or so with my special guest, and welcome to the show, Trevor Dixon. Hello, Trev.
Hi.
Oh, I just dropped my laptop there. Show me professionalism there. So, welcome to the show, Trevor. Thanks for inviting me along.
Thanks for coming.
And we're in your workshop studio. And whereabouts are we?
Honley, about 3 miles from Holmfirth, as you said in your introduction.
The summer wine country.
Yeah, pretty much.
And obviously Dixon Miniatures still going strong?
Yeah, not as strong as we used to be, but we're sort of semi-winding down now.
Yeah.
I'm 68, and I don't realise other things I want to do with my life.
Oh, of course, there's more things important than toy holders.
Apart from whittling up figures.
I think probably the best place to start is go back to when you were a little lad.
Yeah.
And what do you remember the first thing that got you into toy soldiers?
The first I got into model soldiers as opposed to toy soldiers.
Yeah.
In 1964, when I was 8, I picked up a little book called Military Miniatures by Peter Blum, I think his name.
Yeah.
And the figures in it were a bit crap by today's standards, but that introduced me to a world I didn't really know about. This, this can be for adults. It's model soldiers. So that's how I got into model soldiers.
And did you have
family been in the military and or anything like that?
My dad was in the Navy just after the war. It was conscripted just as the war ended. So I got enthralled with tales about his experience in the Navy and not wartime experiences, obviously. But so my first interest really was in the Navy, ships. To get books on ship fighting ships, whatever it was, and that sort of thing.
And did you build models?
We got all the Airfix kits,
classic.
HMS Hood, Bismarck, that sort of thing, and all those. And me and my brother had all those, and he introduced me to sort of to Airfix kits, and then I started getting the boxes of soldiers for 2 bob at the market, and you'd always get home and there'd be something missing out of it, and he'd have to take it back because in those days they weren't wrapped in cellophane like that now. And you get home and there'd be a dinghy missing out of the US Marines boxes.
Yeah, or that stretcher would be missing from there.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. So that's how it started. And then before I left school, because I wasn't really interested in school that much, Hinchliffe Models started a shop in Meltham. Yeah, I'm not sure if it was called Hinchliffe Models then as such. It started doing the gun kits. Before that, the boats, and they did model boats and that sort of thing. Then they started doing the gun kits, and then but the shop was great because I used to just be able to go over on Saturday mornings, about 3 mile drive. We lived at Linthwaite, which was about 3 miles from Meltham. And I used to go over Saturday mornings and spend my spending money there. And it was great. And then I think he closed the shop just before I started working there.
So did that shop then have, was it all Hinchliffe Models, or did it have a mix?
No, all sorts of things, Stadden or whatever they were, and Hinton Hunt.
Oh, Hinton Hunt.
Yeah. The old mates and books and things like that, fascinating. It was like an Aladdin's cave for me. And and then when I left school, I started to work at David Brown Tractors, which was just down the road, just across the road, really. I used to go up in my lunch hour and knock on the door. Have you got any jobs? And I became such a bloody pest. They had to do something with me. So. He said, but we're a new company, and I don't know how long it's going to last. Yeah. I want to come and see. So I was only 16. Yeah. So I come and see your parents about it. So I came over one night and explained everything. And
wow, that's proper old school life, isn't it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Well,
and did you have any skills at that point, or were you just really keen?
Modelling? Yeah.
Yeah,
I started doing I'd done the Airfix conversions and things like that. Do you remember Roy Dilley in Airfix magazine?
I remember the Airfix magazine, yeah.
Yeah, and there's a guy called Roy Dilley in Birmingham, the war, I think. Yeah. And he used to do these conversions.
Wow, yeah.
From 54mm Airfix figures and that sort of thing. And he used to do all that stuff. I used to follow him in that. So, I was a reasonably skilled painter.
So you had something to give to it. You had something to give to Hinchliffe. It wasn't just a boy knocking on the door with...
Although Ali wasn't bothered about that. I think I just wanted to do somebody.
You were the right person.
So I said, I'll start you on £10 a week, which was wonderful because I'd only been getting £8 10p a week.
You didn't tell him that though, did you?
No, probably not. So that was great. So when I started there, I mean, it was absolutely. I remember the smell. The first thing I remember is the smell of the moulds, the silicon of the moulds.
Yeah,
when they go in. I don't think it's quite the same smell now, but unless I've just got used to it. But it was marvellous, and they'd all got the new ancient range that they just brought out and everything, and it was absolutely great.
So what did you start doing when you were there?
finishing production patterns, and Peter Gilder would come along every month or so with a new set of patterns, and then we would make the mould. Or the guy called Don Longley, who was Frank's second in command, and he wasn't a model background; it was a pattern maker background, industrial patterns, in a foundry. That's what he used to do, and he had hands like lumps of meat. But
doing these tiny little details.
Yeah, but he could do really detailed work. The horse harnessing, like for the limbers and that sort of thing. He did all that sort of thing, and he was, reasonably quite an accomplished model. Yeah, so he did that, and he made them. He was the main mold maker.
So were you, as you were seeing all this going on, are you learning all these processes as you go?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I used to do that. I used to finish off the, get the joint lines off the production patterns, engrave the bases with the numbers and that sort of thing. And Peter would he'd never make the, I mentioned this in the article in WI, he'd never make the swords thick enough cast out. So you ended up having to replace the swords. I don't know why. I'd just told him to make the swords thicker, But so we had to roll some like brass rod out and flatten it a little bit so it was like a sword, and put a groove down the middle. To chisel. I can't remember how we did that. We did a chisel a groove down the bloody middle somehow, and solder these. Make little swords, little brass swords, solder them into the hands of all the production patterns, and you might get 20 production patterns in a mould. So you had to do that, which to me was a waste of time, but I was getting paid for it. So I wasn't bothered,
So are they your first bits of miniatures that were ever produced? Then those swords,
probably, yeah. Yeah, well, they were, yeah. Well, that taught me a lot about using a soldering iron.
Yeah.
So that by the time I'd finished, I could make a figure out of solder. That's what my first figures were made of, just pure solder. We
were just chatting about that just before we started recording, and I was talking about Doug Mason and the work he does with soldering. And were those models, the original models, were they done with solder as well? The ones that you were putting the swords onto?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. He'd use a filler. I think it was like a car filler or something, because this was before milliput. So I think Peter used some sort of a car filler or something, like, if he wanted to fill. But mainly solder, but like cloaks and things like that, he'd probably do it if a filler or something like that.
And was the process of making the mould similar to it is today? Would you heat the mould up, press it against the figure? It's the same sort of...
vulcanized molds. Yeah.
So how then did you progress through while you were at Hinchliffe then? What was your career path? Oh, I don't know, but they didn't call it that in them days.
What, really?
Turned up when you got paid.
Yeah. But I only worked there for less than a couple of years, but it was two of the best years of my life. It was a great laugh.
Yeah.
Because mainly women who worked there.
Right.
Mainly older, were casters.
Yeah.
They're all old enough to be my mother. In fact, some of them knew my dad in the war,
Right.
That's and that's absolutely great laugh. I mean, this is take the piss out of you, something rotten.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant.
They sent me out for a light bulb once. I think Donna sent me out for a light bulb for toilets.
Yeah.
Because the men's toilet, at least, I don't know if they can't remember where the women's was, but it was a little shack out,
right? Yeah.
A stone-built shack out in the yard.
Yeah.
And they sent me out for this light bulb, and I come back. It was like this 100-watt bulb. I got this 100-watt bulb. No, one of women saying to me, "What's up, like, can't you find it?"
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
We're cleaning up an old room at home, and we found a 100-watt light bulb, because you can't buy them anymore.
No.
I
To get
didn't.
equivalent, I think.
Yeah, I didn't dare put it. I didn't dare put it in a socket because my electricity bill would have gone crazy.
Mm.
So then you done 2 years there. Then, so what was the spark then to leave the company?
I think I'd always intended setting up on my own. And when I left, I said, I said to Frank, I says, I thought you had an inkling about it. He says, a bloody inkling. I said, so what you were going to do? When, so I'd always had ambitions to do that.
Is that so? That's Frank Hinchliffe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've not spoken on the show before about Frank Hinchliffe, and I've seen a couple of photographs. I never met him. So what was your sort of memories of him as a person? What was his character like?
A bit changeable.
Yeah.
It could be great in some respects. It could be very generous. You know, if he said he wanted a day off to do something, be fine. Something, but then it could be a bit temperamental.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little bit temperamental. I'd say, but it gave me a chance to do what I love doing,
Yeah. Yeah, he's giving you a start in life. And Peter Gilder as well, he's somebody who's come up on the show many, many times.
Yeah.
How did you get on with Peter?
Oh, yeah, fine.
Because he
thought a bit about himself, did Peter?
We've had many stories on the show about him being a bit of a character, a rogue on certain circumstances.
Yeah.
So I'm always interested to get people's opinions.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the rogue bit, but I can imagine the rogue. Yeah, I believe it could be. Yeah, it was. But I think it's partly because he when I said I was going to start designing, he laughed about it, and I thought, right, you bugger.
Yeah,
I think that spurred me on to do it.
Yeah. So before you made that decision, had you had to go yourself at home or whatever design?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
Confident.
Really, until I left, I started having a go at designing figures. Though I don't think. I painted. I used to do a lot of painting for Frank.
Yeah,
because I was good at painting, even 17, 18. I was in oils.
I was going to say back then, was it enamels? Or...
Yeah, well, I used to use oils.
Oils, yeah,
and I think it's what you used to. I haven't painted for years, but I still use oils. I got some the other week in a charity shop for £8. I know it's probably about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
And I haven't used them yet. Yeah, I did a lot of painting, and he paid me for that.
Yeah.
And I was one of the first to paint one of these 120mm Taisho Samurai. Do you remember that?
The huge thing.
Yeah, by Ray Lamb.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember him coming with the patterns, and it was a sort of an exciting day. Ray Lamb coming along, the patterns for this figure. And Frank instructed me not to touch it.
Keep your hands off. So when you started on your own, though, was it 54mm that you started with?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not a wargamer.
Yeah.
I've never played a wargame.
Yeah.
Daft as it sounds.
Yeah.
I think I won with somebody at a club once, and I won.
Oh, well.
I'd probably be quite good.
Quit while you're winning.
If I was interested in it, I'd probably be quite good at that.
Yeah.
Because I've got quite a strategic mind. But no, I've never really been into games of any description.
Yeah.
The Olympic Games are boring me. No, I mean, Chrissy loves it, but I know.
Yeah. Oh, my wife is suddenly an expert on every single sport in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And she does a bit of horse riding, but she was telling me about the canoeing, and all this sort of stuff. And how do you know about this?
Yeah.
She suddenly picked it all up in 10 minutes watching telly. But there we go. Can't argue. Can't argue.
Yeah.
So that is interesting that and I was aware that you weren't really a war gamer, but you've spent most of your career within the war games circle, if you like.
I think that at the time the market for 54mm figures wasn't great, and I didn't feel I was good enough to do bigger figures at that time.
Yeah.
I have done some bigger figures, a few bigger figures since, and they've been a lot better, obviously. But I find that my concentration levels aren't great, and bigger figures take too long to make.
Right.
So Wargames figures was an easier way. At that time, getting into the Wargames market was a lot easier. I mean, now I wouldn't want to be getting into it now.
No. So what year was it then when you left Hinchliffe and started up on your own?
74. October 74. But I did actually start on my own. I did have a job in the jewellers.
Yeah.
In 1975, until 1975.
Just to tide you over.
That time,
While you were getting going. So what?
3 years I had about 3 jobs.
Gotta keep the money coming in as well, haven't you? But clearly you're still doing it now. So you've clearly loved making figures.
I don't. My heart hasn't been in it for a few years now.
But to be honest, was it back then? That was,
I think it must have been.
Yeah,
knocked out a lot of stuff. I've never been that prolific a designer though. And when we started getting on a bit, and I was working in my dad's cellar at first. We used to live in a vicarage. It wasn't a vicar, but we bought
the house.
This whole vicarage to do up.
Yeah,
for about 12 grand or something.
Yeah. Well, they're all big. They're all big. The houses aren't.
And he did it. Yeah. And he more or less did it up himself, and there was a big cellar with it, so I was able to cast in the cellar.
Oh, fantastic!
You see, so that was good, and I had a spare room where I could do my designing, keep my stock. Office work, and my mum did my office work for me.
Did all the up.
So that was. And I worked from home for about 7 or 8 years.
And what were the ranges of when you went into wargaming figures? What were the ranges that you started with?
Monguls was the first one.
Yeah, and did you see a niche in the market for that, or a gap in the market?
No, somebody just suggested it.
Oh, right, okay. A random suggestion.
I was to this club in Manchester called, I'm not sure if it was North Cheshire Military Modelling Society then. It's now White Rose,
right
up at Easingwold. But the guy there called Paul Bettman, and somebody said to me, he says, ask Paul Bettman about wargamers, because he's a wargamer.
Yeah.
The only wargamer in the club. And he said, he said Monguls.
Right.
Nobody does Monguls. I mean, nowadays you can't get anything that nobody else, somebody else doesn't do, can you? But and so I did a few Monguls, and then another friend of mine, Rod Johnson, said, I think it was his suggestion to do samurai. So I started doing the samurai.
So back then, we're talking pre-internet. I remember being interested in samurai when I was younger, and it was hard to find information. So how did you go about researching these figures for kind of Eastern warfare?
Well, I was in touch with Stevie Turnbull.
The chap who wrote Samurai Warriors. I remember that book. Yeah, many others.
About 80 odd.
Yeah, yes,
yeah,
very prolific.
And I think he used to send me some drawings. And stuff. There were books on it. The first Osprey Samurai book was 79, which coincided with me starting doing Samurai 78, 79. I think the earliest one I did was about 77, 78.
Had you got a pre-existing interest in that period of history, or was it just that suggestion?
Really?
Yeah, because it's a fascinating. I mean, it's not one of my main periods of history, but it's a fascinating one to study.
My main interest have always been World War II, but I can't remember being I mean, I've got a mild interest in most periods. I'm not an expert on anything.
Yeah.
I don't sit down and read military books from page,
Yeah.
I just do what research I have to do
To get the figure out.
for the figure.
Yeah.
Obviously, you learn quite a bit about militaries. I'm not an expert on anything at all.
I mean, those samurai figures were, I can't remember other samurai figures out at the time. Quite groundbreaking, I think.
Yeah, nobody else did them.
Nobody else did them, and they're still popular today.
Yeah.
I was only looking, a couple of 3 weeks ago, and one of these new painters, I can't remember what the name of it was now, he'd done some really, really nice versions of them.
What of
your stuff, yeah.
Oh yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah, they just keep
they've done different standards, and that's
yeah.
The number one.
Yeah, they just keep going and going and going, which must be amazing.
Character that people like. I mean, no, they're not anatomically perfect. A lot of people don't like the big heads, and but they seem to have like the caricaturishness that a lot of people still like. I mean, and there's a hell of a lot of stuff on as well, isn't there?
I mean, it's something else I've discussed with. I spoke with Pete Brown on one of the last episodes about this from Tag, and he has that Tag look for his figures, and I think Dixon's have a Dixon look.
Yeah.
Is that just a quirk of your design skills, or was it planned in any way?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
The head's probably ended up being bigger because I've never been great at face. At first got bigger and bigger to get the bloody dude.
But you do quite expressive faces.
Yeah.
It's not, some manufacturers who are more, in inverted commas, anatomically correct, the faces can be quite dull. It's just like one pose, slightly not happy, not sad. But some of the American Civil War stuff's got real character to it, and it comes out in a unit. So when you something I spoke, do you know Pete Morby from Elite Miniatures?
Not personally.
Yeah,
I know the name.
Yeah, I was just checking when
the last guy that you did the interview.
He's from. I interviewed him episode 9, and we're on 62.
Oh, right. Yeah.
So Pete does Elite Miniatures with Napoleonics, and we were talking about he like designs a unit and puts the figures in it. Do you figure to figure and not think about how a unit looks?
Pretty much, yeah. Everything I do is pretty random. Decisions are pretty random,
Yeah.
I'm not one of the greatest planners in the world. I've never been. The American Civil War stuff started on impulse.
Right.
It started off being Wild West, and I did all the armatures because I do all my armatures in metal first.
Yeah.
Cast them up. I don't do each individual one in wire. Too much harder.
Yeah.
So I'll do a metal different, different armatures in different positions, and cast them off. And of course, you can use the same armature for multiple figures. I never understood this making a wire armature for each figure. After me.
So you have I
try to look at more of a bit of an assembly line system.
Going on to your process then, as you brought it up, you have these set of armatures in different poses that are like a starting block.
Yeah,
and then you put are we on green stuff or milliput, or how do you work with the
milliput? Man, there's some other stuff. Some grey stuff, I can't remember what it is now.
Yeah.
I'll mix that with milliput, and it makes the milliput a bit more plasticky. Otherwise, I kind of took plasticky on its own, but it makes the mixed with the milliput. For me, it gives a firmer medium to work with.
Tools? What? Just regular
dental tools, man.
Yeah. Nothing weird and wonderful. Lollipop sticks or
no, just dental tools.
Yeah. And how do you go about planning a range, or don't you? You don't.
I just do it. Oh no, I can't plan. No. So what happened?
Yeah.
Just like no organisations whatsoever.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. I like a bit of randomness. It's good.
So, with the American Civil War end, it just continued and continued.
Yeah. And do you get a lot of people who say, "Oh, Trevor, can you do this for me?"
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've done the past.
Yeah. When you're looking to expand a range, the people come and go, "Oh, we need this, we need that."
Oh, I'm always full of suggestions. Some of which I've taken up, and some of which, to be honest, I haven't.
Is it a lot of them got no written truth?
Yeah. No, you just don't, not getting around to it. Really. I'm not one of the quickest designers. I'm one of the most prolific. It takes me in. If I actually had to work with somebody else,
yeah.
I'd starve probably. It wouldn't be fast. I wouldn't be fast. So, game for people. People have gone to work for Games Workshop and they're burnt out in a few months.
Oh yeah, and I've heard that from a lot of people. I've heard that from a lot of people.
Yeah.
Your samurai range seemed to get picked up by fantasy gamers as well, and there was things like Bushido, the role-playing game.
Yeah.
Did that lead you on to do the more sort of inverted commas fantasy element? I'm a bit worried about that.
I think that was Mark Copplestone.
Right. Because did Mark work with you at some stage?
Yeah.
Yes, right.
Yeah. One of my biggest regrets is letting him go to Games Workshop.
Right.
He said, look, and I want to go into this full time. I'm willing to do it full time. And then I think I bottled out because I didn't want to employ him full time. It would still have been self-employed. And I wish I'd bitten the bullet and got it full time. I think we would have done a lot better. I've got some really nice figures as well.
Yeah.
Because though he was always quite good, he got better. He got like we all do. He got better as well.
So how long was Mark with you for?
Oh, I said it was only part time.
Yeah.
About 3 years. About 3 years. It came to me with this what it was. Somebody I think Grenadier models or somebody had done some figures for somebody, and the Welsh done the deal. I don't know what and he said, "Do you want?" It was a load of ninja and some goblins. I'm not sure, some Oni or something like.
Oh yeah,
that.
Yeah.
And he came to and he said, "Do you want to buy ministers?"
Yeah.
Stuck with them. So I bought this figure off them, and then he continued to add to that range. He did some goblins, some Oni. So that's how the fan out of that. I wasn't interested. I've never been interested in fantasy.
Yeah.
Again, I would have probably been a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah, if you got the right fantasy models, you could be. Right. We could be talking on a Caribbean island now, couldn't we?
So yeah, and then it was his idea to do the Grand Alliance range.
Yes.
Which still sells very well, and his idea to do the head variants, which I've continued to do in the American Civil War range and other games that I've done as well. What else did you do? Oh yeah, did the 15mm Marlborough.
Right. That was something I was going to ask about later on. So yeah.
What else did you do? That was about it, really. He did a few Ronin, Samurai. Not so much samurais, Ronin, ninja, sort of thing. He did a few more. Really. We had a big place. It was 3 times as big as we've got now. We had enough room.
Was that when you were at Linthwaite?
Yeah. We had 2 places at Linthwaite. A place where I first started. It was a fairly small unit, and then we moved to a much bigger one. And we had plenty of room.
Any other names that we might recognise that have been through the Dixon Miniatures stable?
Gary Morley, he decided he did the Napoleonic stuff.
Yeah,
a long time. Then he went off to work for Games Workshop.
Oh, right.
Big game.
Is this Trevor Dixon, trainer for Games Workshop.
Yeah, well, I think
You should get a wage off them.
I've always felt that we would have been better. We would have done, not that I would have ever probably moved to Nottingham, and Christian certainly wouldn't, but moving down that way, I don't know why. Not because you're in amongst where it's all going on, and most people seem to be new at Nottingham, that sort of area. And it's like a bit of a big gigantic clique, isn't it?
It does seem something. Yeah.
Lot, the workshop lot, the Warlord Games lot, whatever it is. In fact, Nick Ayre said to me a while back. He said he comes from Halifax, originally, and he said he wouldn't have done as well if he'd have stayed
around here.
He's done better by moving down to Nottingham.
Well, this year, obviously yourself, Elite Miniatures, First Corps down South Hull, Gould way, and then the Wargames Holiday Centre was originally up by Scarborough, and Peter Gilder was that way up at Flockton. So there's quite a bit of Yorkshire history in wargaming. So I'm glad you stayed anyway. Much better than Nottingham Road. Much better. Fish and chips.
I could go for hours about Hinchliffe Miniatures. Do you know Rob Baker?
Yes, he passed away recently.
Did he?
Yeah, passed away a couple of days ago. Oh, did you not see it?
No, I don't remember seeing it.
Yeah, he was on. I think it was over the weekend. No, he was. I saw him at Partisan this year, and I was chatting with a friend of mine about getting him to come on and do one of these.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's not going to happen now, but it's quite sad.
They're all dying out. I mean, we lost Duncan, didn't we?
Yeah.
And Brian Ansel.
There was a chap called Ian Smith who used to do big games. Yeah, he's fantastic.
Sean.
Yeah, Sean. Brian knows him well.
Yeah,
a real shame.
But no, Rob designed the stagecoach and wagons for us.
Ah, superb.
And I knew Rob at Hinchliffe because he was a friend of Peter Gilder, and he did the Gettysburg terrain.
Right, I didn't know that
yet. Peter used to cart around to exhibitions.
Yeah. Was that the one that was on telly on
that's it.
The Battleground? Yeah, Battleground.
Yeah. There was some filming something, and him and Rob came over.
Right.
And Rob wasn't included in the, because it's all about Peter.
Yeah.
About Peter. He took all the credit to the terrain, even though I think Rob had done 90%. And so I was given the job of taking Rob out to the pub. Fine.
There are worse jobs. So
that's how I got to know Rob.
Yeah.
And then, a few years later, I met up with him again.
Yeah.
It was designing
for First Corps.
Was it First Corps? I think First Corps might have been just after.
Right.
We did our stuff.
Yeah.
Back about 30 odd years.
Yeah.
1991,
Yeah. I mean, I still think of First Corps as a new company, but they're quite because I remember them starting. I remember them starting and seeing their first display stand at shows and stuff. So it was. So you said World War II was kind of your favourite.
Yeah, well, it always was.
It's
really Victor comic when I was a kid, and the little combat. Commando.
Well, they're still going.
Magazines. You can get them on eBay. You can get the old ones on eBay.
Well, they've started up again, and they do 4 issues a month.
Yeah,
and they do 2 old ones as reprints, and then 2 new ones. So you can get them in Smiths every now and again. I still get them because I really enjoy. Still enjoy. I got a big pile of this.
Shilling.
And I say.
Quick.
I think the 225 now. I think we are.
Yeah.
So I have a big pile of them at the side of my desk, and my missus thinks you still 12 reading Commando magazines. That's how I enjoy it. Love, shut up. Keeps me quiet.
Things now.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
And
Then I'd always been into, I got into the chin bits for some reason.
Yeah.
Fascinated, so read all the chin bit book, Beyond the Chin Window, sort of thing, Fighting Mad, by Mike Calvert and all this. And I was just fascinated by the whole subject. And then I found out a bit later on I've got a great uncle who was in Burma.
Right.
It made it even better.
Yeah.
Although he wasn't a Chindi, he was knocking on by that time.
Yeah.
He was like in his late 30s, so I think he was in stores or something like that.
Yeah. And did those books and that interest in things like, did that drive you on to do new ranges and inspire you to do stuff?
Yeah, well,
because you're not gaming with it, are you? So
no.
There's got to be something that you go, I fancy doing that.
Modelling,
Yeah.
That, before I left school. So, yeah. I can't really explain what inspires me particularly.
Something arrives in your head.
Just had a trigger or something makes a suggestion.
Yeah.
Something like that.
And off you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So I've never been a planner. So.
With you not being a war gamer, then do you listen to war gamers about figure poses or things like that to give you an idea?
Yeah. People write in with or email now with suggestions, that sort of thing, and sketches and stuff like that. Nick Books has been quite a big help on that. Although I must admit, I haven't always done what is it? Sorry, Nick. But yeah.
People can suggest. You don't have to do it, do you? You don't have to do it.
I find one of my problems is lack of motivation.
Yeah.
Especially these days.
Yeah.
The last 10, 20 years. Or so.
Yeah. Yeah. It's you've been doing it for a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, one thing that I do remember from the past and from the present, I had a good route through your website over the last few days.
Yeah.
Is your catalogues? I call them classic catalogues, and you used to have. And I remember sitting there and just looking at you look at all the illustrations, and they're not. A lot of people moan these days, oh, well, you don't have pictures of your figures or stuff like that. But I remember looking at those illustrations and being really excited by them. So are they drawn by yourself? Where do they come from, those illustrations?
The illustration came from a guy called Clive Jebbett.
Right.
Who you may have known, or you may not, from the York Wargaming.
Right, okay.
He lived in York. He's lived in Devizes for about 20 years now. But yeah, it was in New York, and I got to know him through a guy called Griff Henderson that was also at the York Wargaming. And he said, "Oh, I'll put you in touch with my friend Clive. He's an artist. He's a commercial artist, and he can do line drawing and that sort of thing." So he did all my artwork for the front of the catalogue. And we did some blister packs that wrote one, so we did the artwork for that. And
lovely drawing.
Anything like that, it could just charge me about £3 a piece or something like that.
Wow.
And I used to have to get a broom. My brother had an office downstairs from where we were, which was handy because it was involved there printing. They had a bromide. Check a bromide of it. So people didn't know what a bromide is.
Yeah.
So, you do them, sort of about, 4 or 5 inches tall, and you reduce them on your brome thing. And I cut them all out, arrange them on a piece of card, and send them off to your printers.
So I think they would be brilliant. They would be brilliant as like a poster.
Yeah,
on the wall, with all those line drawings were just fascinating, so good.
Yeah, still got them online. You can download them on a PDF.
Yeah, I was
not the newest stuff. Stuff I've done in the last 20 years isn't on the line drawing. It's just not worth doing now. We get used to get 2,000 sheets done at once, and then you compile them into a catalogue and catalogues.
I certainly think for everyone listening, obviously I'm going to direct you towards Trevor's website with links at the end of the show. But just go and have a look at the PDF catalogues because they are absolutely superb. If that doesn't inspire people to buy figures, I don't know what will, because it did for me back in the day.
Yeah, even though they don't look exactly like the figure always does.
Yeah,
You know,
it's no, they have a real character to them, just like the figures do.
Because I said doing that because that's what Hinchliffe used to do. They had a catalogue with line drawing, really line drawing. I'm sure I've got a copy somewhere. I'm going to try and dig it out.
Yeah, no, that'd be brilliant.
Yeah, because they do, inspired. It's like artwork might inspire more than a photograph to buy something. Because a certain, posters done now. You can get whatever it is, football, World Cup or whatever it is.
Yeah.
A montage of players. And it was really good, that.
I think
in a photograph.
I think, and especially with the samurai, some of the work that was in some of Stephen Turnbull's books, and I think it was what was the name? Roland Knutson.
So Knutson.
Yeah.
I've got some of those. Those are old Roald nuts.
Yeah. Because he kind of.
I've got loads. I've got more in a box.
It might be worth some money then.
Yeah, I mean it's 40 odd years since I got those.
Yeah, it was those sort of artists that.
Yeah,
because it's
he. I should have mentioned he inspired me in the early days. The Roald nuts and prints. Yeah.
It's such a different look, isn't it? And such a different way of society and way of life. Did you ever do any like martial arts or anything like that?
Oh, yeah, I did karate.
Right.
Well, I didn't start doing that.
Yeah.
I was like 45, doing all the samurai.
Old school karate.
I found that I was quite good at posture and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Because I'd studied moves, samurai moves, and done animation with samurai. So when I started getting into a fighting stance, I know where fighting
stance is.
Like, So
that's really interesting.
The animation helped me with the martial arts. The
other way around. You never did a self-portrait, Trevor Dixon doing karate in 28mm.
Oh no,
you did it. It would not be the best-selling range, that.
Probably not.
I think probably one of the biggest changes in the hobby during your time has been the introduction of the internet.
Yeah.
So how did it change overnight for you, or was it a gradual progression onto selling figures online? Poor have been dragged and screamed into the 20th. Right. Like a true Yorkshireman.
Yeah. Pete Berry was the, from...
Yes, Bacchus, yeah.
No, Pete.
Yeah.
He did my first website.
Right.
So it wasn't online shopping, but he did my first website.
Yeah.
Which was a big help. And I think I gave him the old crappy casting machine.
Keeps you happy.
Because he was starting back at that time.
Yeah.
So, 20 odd years since, 20 years.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then, obviously, from that website, the website design bloke was able to just detect that. Saved him a lot of work. So, I was able to get online shopping done reasonably from that, what he had done, you see. So,
and are all your sales now online, or have you got anybody left?
Yes. Oh,
have you got anybody left who sends you a letter with a check in it?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it's always the wrong amount. But
has it got a date? Is it dated?
Yeah.
They put a date on the check.
Probably, yeah. Did we send that check back to that bloke, Christine? I'm not sure.
No.
Did I? Oh, probably not. I'm not sure. Yeah. Anyway.
So there's still people sending you letters and checks.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, brilliant.
And phone, we get quite a few phone calls online.
Oh, that's lovely to hear.
The details, But this guy, he just sends quite a few orders actually, but he's never a phone. I don't think he's even got a landline.
Right.
He sends a letter.
Yeah.
No bloody phone number.
Yeah.
So you can't ring him up to say, look, I'm sorry, you're £10 short. You've got to send him a letter back, and which costs, you're going to take a mortgage out for the stamp now.
Yeah.
And it's like, 1900s.
Yeah.
So we do, in answer to your question.
That's good. That's good to hear. Those people are still out there. I remember fondly, writing my list out and then blagging a check off my mum to get my first figures. So that brings back a lot of memories.
Yeah.
We talked earlier on before we started recording about some connections to Leeds and the Leeds Club and being involved with Fiasco. So what are your memories of that?
What, being involved? Or?
Yeah, because you mentioned, did you sponsor the show at the Queen's?
Well, I said, it's 82 and we got a bit of feedback. Auckland and that.
Yeah.
It was enjoyed. Then I think they decided they didn't want me the year after. So.
Oh, right, okay. I'll have a word with them when I go back.
I don't want to do it now. They didn't need sponsors, which they didn't really, to be honest. Oh, I sponsored what Huddersfield. Yeah, that's 2000.
Yeah.
I didn't continue with that. I hadn't really got any. And you need to have a club. Been in with the club, and there wasn't really a club in Huddersfield. I think we just, 3 or 4 of us did it, and you really need a club involved.
Yeah,
everybody has their own cast, don't they? So I didn't bother with that one again.
Wargame shows, as in general, then you were a regular feature at a lot of shows back in the day.
A lot of shows.
It must have been the ones I went to then, because I always seem to remember you.
I've only ever done I think the most I ever did was 7 or 8 a year.
Yeah.
I mean, you get people like Dave Thomas. I mean,
he's everywhere, isn't he?
He's weak.
He's everywhere.
And he's about my age,
I just think it's because he likes drinking on the Friday night before.
Yeah, it's all part of it.
Yeah. Show doesn't matter. It's just having a few pints on the night before. So what shows did you used to do then? I remember you at Fiasco.
We did Vatten Attack, triples.
Yeah, all classic triples. Yeah.
It's a pity that ended actually, because
the
last one, they said it was dead, but we did okay at that one.
Yeah,
and it's local, so you don't stay.
It just seemed to lose that. It had something about it at the old venue at the Octagon.
Yeah,
it was a pain in the arse because everything was in different levels, but it had a character to it, and then that place it went to just seemed to be like a big sports hall and didn't really have any feel to it. But it's certainly a shame that it's gone. I miss it dreadfully.
And obviously Salute, was about 84, I think, with its Salute. What else? Fiasco used to be in June, didn't it?
It did, and then it ended up being moved to October time because we went to the Royal Armouries.
And in the first week in November then.
Yeah, we went to the Royal Armouries, and I think it was a couple of years in June there, and then they brought the James Bond cars for an exhibition.
Oh, yeah.
And the Armouries had to choose between the James Bond cars and 50,000 people every day, or a Wargame show with 1,500. So it was a bit of a no-brainer. So we went, fair enough.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then Claymore.
I loved Claymore.
Claymore was, and I thought this weekend I shouldn't be doing Claymore. I shouldn't have stopped doing shows.
Yeah.
I love Claymore. Yeah, it's my favourite show too. Everything. The drive up there, 68.
Yeah.
The stopping for breakfast at the last cafe in England, I think it was. Be going out at night. Playmobil used to be better at first because we all used to, all the club used to get together and we'd go out on the Friday for a drink, and then the Saturday we'd all meet up at a Chinese or an Indian restaurant. And I think they got a bit old and they couldn't be bothered with it, so it's a man to himself. And well, at first they used to put you up for the night because they couldn't get anybody to come much south of the border. So they used to put you up.
Wow.
And I met some good friends.
It was a fantastic friendly show, and we always used to make the effort to go up there.
Yeah, it was. And I love the guys up there. You know, I've met a lot of good friends up there, and I haven't ruled out nothing.
Oh, is that an exclusive?
If I can get it now, but a couple of years.
I'm sure they'll be happy about it.
Playmo was the last show I did 5 years ago.
Yeah, I was going to say I was
trying to think about it. I can't live in the house.
Yeah, that's what I was going to come on to, is when did you stop and why, and
the hassle getting ready.
Yeah,
you know, and the journey there. You know, the setting up when you get there. You know, the taking your stuff down, and you know, I love doing so when I'm there. You know, and you're working behind the stand, and you know, talking to people, taking money, and you know, the hassle and getting ready. And of course, where we are, we're right on the end of a corridor, and you've got to cart your stuff right to at least 7 or 8 trips.
Yes.
With a loaded trolley.
Oh, so there's no entrance at this end. You've got to go all the way down, right?
On the fire escape.
Yeah.
You've got to go all the way down, get it in the lift. It's in the lift, you know. So it takes a good hour to load up.
So you're not saying never?
I'm not saying never, no.
But you might. You never know. You never know. Well, you're most welcome at Fiasco. I'm sure I can.
Thanks.
I'm sure I can pull an arm and a leg or two.
Yeah. People said, "One come down. It's only down the road." Yeah, it's not the travelling. It's the ball breaking effort.
And do you?
And the practically a week before you're getting your stock fed in.
Yeah.
You're not doing a lot, you know, it takes time away from you doing
from everyday thing. Yeah. Is there another generation of Dixons coming through?
Well, yes.
We'll
get on to that.
Right.
After the break, because I want to go for a week.
Right, no worries. I shall pause. Right, so before the toilet break, I was just saying, you know, is there a generation of Dixons coming through to take over?
Yeah, my son's moved back up here.
Right.
And he's been doing some 3D printing.
Right.
Which I've thought about. To be honest, it was never going to happen because it was totally over my head. You know, technicalities. Programming something into a computer and then doing it, but he's was really good at it. I think what he's bought so far is just some online files that he's doing. His interests are mainly in sort of Warhammer,
right,
of fantasy, that sort of thing, which I'm not. So I'm trying to get him to get some more. I think he needs a more advanced computer.
Yeah.
So he can do more complicated stuff. And maybe, hopefully, get him to do some military stuff.
Oh, good idea. Good idea.
Well, good idea on my part. I'm not with him.
He needs persuading, is what you're saying.
So, he's managed to sell quite a few of those, I think, his Warhammer stuff anyway.
Oh, fantastic.
Just producing them in resin, just leaving them overnight.
Yeah.
Like he says, it's not... I said, why don't you do something we can cast out in metal? Because obviously in 3D printing, I mean, you can do literally anything. And it will be, you can do things that you couldn't possibly cast in metal. But I said, we cast in metal and then we can knock them out.
Yeah.
Thousands of them out. But anyway, you know, it's early days, shall we say, for that. But I mean, 3D printers so cheap now. He said you could have a unit full of 3D print, 10 3D print, just gradually producing stuff, and it wouldn't be a fortune.
It's certainly.
I think the one we got was about 160 quid.
I think it's something that's going to change the hobby in the future.
Yeah,
But not. I don't think it's going to be straight away. I think there's still a lot of old school metal casting life left.
Yeah, at my age, you didn't stick to what you used to.
Yeah, exactly.
Otherwise, we were very good at it.
Exactly.
No, it's not.
Not for you. Not for you. Well,
No, not for me. I like the results.
yeah. And
You know, although some like I think we covered this before, it can be a bit too perfect,
yeah,
and you don't always get the character that you do in a handmade figure. There's something about a handmade figure,
I think
especially in metal, when it's cast in metal. That
I think with any, sculpture is an art form, and if you look at famous painters, they had a style, and they weren't always trying to get the most perfectly anatomically correct. They would have a certain style about how they painted, and I think that's the big difference for me between the traditional method of making toy soldiers, as you do, and as Pete Morby does, and as other people I've spoken to, compared to that 3D image where it's hard to get that personal feel to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It's
like the difference between a digitally enhanced record that you might hear on the radio, going to see a live band. There's nothing like going to see a live band. With all its imperfections, maybe not great sound and everything, isn't it?
It's a different
atmosphere you get from that.
Different thing. So, do you still do design new stuff? I mean, you've mentioned a few times that motivation is a bit of an issue with sometimes, but
months I've been mainly decorating. Become more of a semi-professional decorator.
New business.
No.
Dixon's Decorators.
Professional. Designing. I haven't done a lot. At least I haven't done much recently at all. I think I might, if I were to design, I'm going back to bigger stuff.
Is there anything burning inside that you think, I should have done that? I might go back to that.
Possibly. I can't give anything offhand at the moment.
Yeah. So how do you see the future of Dixon Miniatures then? Are you keeping it going?
That's a difficult one.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a catch-22 because I can't, obviously, I don't want to keep it going forever. I have other things. I want to, other things I want.
Yeah.
Travel more on. But if I sell it, it would have to be somebody who's going to look after it. It's just like your child.
It is, yes. It is, yeah.
Like giving your daughter a wedding. I was hoping my son might take over the whole business and run it and, do the orders and everything. But I just cannot see him doing the fiddly little things that we do.
Yeah. The fine motor skill stuff.
It's almost above that sort of thing.
Yeah. I think it's great that
the weapons out and all that sort of thing, and remembering what goes with what. There's a hell of a lot to learn. I'm not saying he's not capable on that. I'm just saying it's not the sort of person who could be bothered with stuff like that. I'd rather be designing new stuff and doing more technical stuff
than the day-to-day operations of
that sort of thing.
Yeah,
where his talent lies. Apart from music, is a very good musician.
Well, I have to say that it's fantastic that your figures are still around, and we spoke about earlier on in the interview. They're still regularly coming up with new painters, giving them new leases of life and new looks. So it must be good for you when you bob on the internet and say, "Oh, I did that." Yeah. There's some of mine, then.
It's feel quite old, doesn't it? I remember saving me sending money to your stuff.
It's lovely to see that. It's lovely.
I mean, even now, we're talking about samurai. Even now, and this is a challenge going out to somebody, there's nobody, as far as I know, does the earliest stuff. The 11 can't remember what period it was in the 11th, 12th century stuff
Right.
in samurai.
So there's a gap in the market.
It's all based around the what's it period?
Like the
I can't remember now. It's so long since I all this stuff. The 16th century.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
The sort of when firearms come in and that type of period there. Yeah. No.
But nobody does the earlier stuff.
Yeah. Well, hopefully somebody will in the future. I have to say it's been an immense pleasure sitting and talking to you today.
Likewise.
And thank you very much for spending the time to chat about Dixon's Miniatures. And I hope everybody that listens, and there's quite a lot of people that listen to this, come along to your website and pick some stuff up, and then you won't be able to do as much decorating. Yeah. So thank you very much, Trevor.
Well, thank you, Ken. Yeah, been a pleasure.
So there we go. Thank you very much, Trevor, once again for inviting me down to the workshop and making me a brew. And we shall be back very shortly, probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks' time as usual. And the next episode, I'm hoping, is going to be a bit of a catch-up episode. I've already recorded with Paul Thompson from Early War Miniatures, a little bit of an update about the Great Wargames website disaster, and also a catch up in relation to the German raid on the Isle of Wight that Paul spoke about in episode 43. Absolutely fascinating investigation into a virtually unknown, if not unknown, raid on the British coast in I think it was 1943. Yeah, great listen to. So not sure whether I'll be able to get any other guests in on that episode. It's about an hour and a half so far, but I'd like to at least get one more interview, see how that fits in with mine and my potential guests' schedule. But once again, thank you for listening to the Yorkshire Gamer podcast. If you could give us a like, a review, 5 stars, whatever you think, on any of the podcast hosts where you listen to this, it really does make a difference and increases the visibility of the podcast for other people. Let your mates know. Have a, when you're down the club, have you listened to that daft idiot from Pudsey? And the more people who listen, the better. I forget to mention all the way through that the World Cup of Wargames manufacturers is over, and the victor is Victrix Miniatures, and they beat Perry Miniatures in the final, which was unexpected for many, maybe not for me, but that was really great. And I've invited Victrix to come on the show and chat about their figures and, of course, winning the World Cup. They've not got back to me yet, so if you know them, give them a nudge. Until next time, see thee.